Thank you, Homer. Welcome back to the E3 Stage 1 here at E3 2013. I'm joined by Frank from Warner Brothers. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you very much.
Good. I should have really said that I'm Johnny. Chris will be back soon enough for all of you watching, but we're here to talk about Mad Max right now. One of the biggest surprises of yesterday's conferences. So, yeah, give us the top line on the game. I mean, for people who have absolutely no idea what Mad Max is.
Sure. Well, Mad Max is a open-world game that we're putting together, taking advantage of a very classic anti-hero from the old movies that we saw back in the 70s, 80s. And we're taking that into a very large open-world game, but we're featuring a very cool car combat system, and that is something that we're really showing off today.
I see. And you say yourself that there's kind of a classic anti-hero from the original film franchise, but I understand that you're taking it very much an original direction. This isn't kind of a movie-to-game port, effectively.
Absolutely. I think that's a very good important point for us to make. We're not basing this off of any movies from the past or even from the upcoming film. It's a standalone game. And the character himself, though, is a very classic character, so we're not making sure, or we're making sure that that remains the same. But yeah, we're updating everything about the Mad Max Wasteland and just how we view that universe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we're looking at the reveal trailer here now. Of course, for the vast majority of it, you've got Max in a car, and you say yourself that you've got a car combat as a big part of it. People generally, when they approach open world games, expect to see. To basically have vehicles just be functional to get you from A to B when they can't be bothered to fast travel. Yeah. How exactly does this car combat work?
Well, it's based almost entirely off of physics, and that creates a very emergent sort of situation for the player. So instead of just simply pressing a button and attacking, the physical attributes of the car really plays an important part in the combat. So for example, if you add armor or add some sort of ramming grill or anything about the car, it starts to weigh it down, and that physical element starts to change the way the car handles. And just the way the car handles starts to change the way the car combat goes down. And then the player can start adding things on top of that, like weapons and just using their driver's skill. And putting all those things together really changes the way the car combat goes down. And each time you play, there'll be a different situation every single time.
I understand the game's, only really just been revealed to us, but how broad can we expect the kind of vehicle combat to be? How many different kind of variations can we expect?
Yeah, so the player has an opportunity to drive over 50 authentic Mad Max vehicles. Mm-hmm. But really, the most important thing is that the player has a chance to make his own vehicle. So if you know anything about Mad Max, he loses his Interceptor, which is his classic car that we've seen him drive for many years. Mm-hmm. He loses that car early on in the story. And that sets up an opportunity for the player to make or remake their own version of that iconic car. And everybody will make their own different car, because the way we got our customization set up, no two cars will really look the same. So it's up to the player on how they decide to create that car and what's important to them in driving and in combat.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we're going to be dealing with quite a progressive Max. I was half expecting you to tell me that this was going to be a real revenge story of a game. Can you tell us a bit about the plot?
Yeah, well, revenge is not necessarily something that Max is interested in. He's kind of a simple guy. He's a lonely guy, and he has a lot of demons inside of him. And really all he wants to do is escape the wasteland. He wants to go to this place called the Plains of Silence. And what his demons are doing to him is because he has, like, the last shred of humanity in this wasteland. And so he's just trying to get away from it all. But of course, in the course of doing that, he encounters bad people, he encounters situations that he can't escape, and they draw him in. And so it's all about trying to get through that, get what he needs, which is the car, and then get out.
Okay, all right. Well, when you say open world games, people, generally the first question they want to ask you back is how big, especially given the number of open world games we've got coming up. I mean, GTA 5 for one, and of course the rise of the next generation of consoles. How big is the world, can you say?
Yeah, when we think about size, we think about how dense the experience is. And right now we're in pre-alpha, so the actual size of the world is always contracting, expanding. We're not really quite sure what that exact size is, but we strive for a very dense experience. And so when a player is going through and making decisions on what's important to him, he has a lot of choices.
Okay. Now, obviously, open world games, people expect a very strong single-player element. Are you planning multiplayer at this stage?
There's no multiplayer at the time. It's a very strong single-player experience, and of course Max is a loner, and we're really focusing on that aspect of Max.
All right, well, that's completely taken my legs out from under me, and I can't ask whether you're planning to charge people to play multiplayer if they buy a used copy, but what's your take on that whole debate at the minute?
To be honest, I'm right here focusing on selling what we've got with the game, and I'm really proud of where we're at with the game, and I'm just wanting to talk about that stuff.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, then, is there anything else you would like to share about Mad Max before we wrap up?
No, we're really excited about releasing it next year, and the team's been very, very hard at work at trying to make the most authentic Mad Max experience. And yeah, we're just excited about it.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to see more. Thank you very much for joining us here on the stage.
Thank you for having me.
Great. We should have a lot more great stuff coming up. That camera. But stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. I, on the other hand, will go somewhere, and there'll be someone else in front of you when we come back right after this.